are listening to the most comprehensive paranormal archive on the internet.
Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm sharing experiences, true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And support is never expected but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. And there are many ways to support the show. You can share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can sign up for the Patreon feed and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. That is the base membership plan there. And you can also check out the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts and a few other items with designs made by friends of the show. Please follow friends of the show, including Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is the co-host of this show with me on Saturdays whenever she can make it. Ricky of the Anything Is Possible podcast, who usually does a paranormal-themed show on Sundays that I am usually there for. And Michael Strange, host of Trouble Minds Radio, if I could talk, which I call into quite frequently. And also the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows, along with my own, 24/7, online for free. So I think that takes care of all the necessary introduction stuff. I hope that that's never too long for you all. I try to keep it quick and as short as I can, but I do think it's important to let everyone know what's going on with the show and other people to check out and support as well. So let me get back to the file here. This next one says, I'm sharing this for the first time, and I still don't know how to explain it. When I was around 6 years old and staying with my grandmother, I used to see shadow-like figures walking around the room at night while I was in bed. They never interacted with me or felt threatening. I was scared, but it also felt strangely familiar. So I would pull my blanket up and quietly watch them. I could see them opening doors and moving around, and the details felt very real. The shadows of trees outside, the sense of cold air coming in, everything. I want to clarify that I wasn't half asleep or drifting in and out of sleep during this. I was fully awake and aware while watching it happen. After some time, the shadow figures stopped, and the experience changed into something else. I began seeing what looked like a large board covered with ancient inscriptions, slowly rotating. With each rotation, it would zoom closer and closer. If I blinked, it would reset and start again from a distance. Unlike the shadow figures, this didn't stop even when I closed my eyes, which made it much more unsettling. I've never been sure whether this was psychological, neurological, or something else entirely, but it was vivid, recurring, and stayed with me for a long time, and that's where that one ends. The shadow figures seem to be a normal thing overall, and as far as paranormal things go, but seeing the trees and feeling the wind is fascinating. It's almost like they were shifting between places somehow, from an inside to an outside, environment kind of situation there. I'm not sure what to make of that. If it was just shadow figures, then that'd be sort of, like I said, a common thing. But this sounds, I don't even know how to describe this. Because it sounds like they were, for brief parts of the night, they were maybe inhabiting some other level of reality at the same time. Not sure. But the seeing the symbols, I've heard of that too, though. People, when they're relaxed and they want to go to sleep or they're waking up or they're asleep, they see weird symbols in their mind's eye. And I don't know if that's, I'm not saying that this is what was happening to the person here. I don't know that it was in their mind's eye. But just because it's in their mind's eye doesn't mean it can't be somehow transmitted or sent by some other force. And I say that because, and this keeps coming up lately, which is kind of funny, in conversations both on shows and off of shows. But my first paranormal experience that I can remember, for sure anyway, I am pretty positive now that it involved some kind of mind-to-mind contact or communication. And I guess I'll go into that real quick here. The first time I went to visit my cousin at this house that the family had just moved into, we camped out in the basement one night, and there was the family was still unpacking all their stuff, so there was things everywhere. But to get to the important part here, we're laying in the bed, sort of like half sitting up, laying in the bed looking into the back of the basement, which is dark because they just had those pull string lights. And so we only had the light on above us and the one on by the stairs because the bathroom was on the ground floor. And we noticed in the back of the basement, above one of the clotheslines they had strung up along different parts of the room to hang sheets and clothes, which they had a sheet hanging from this one clothesline at the time, we could both see the head of an older woman. Now, we did not see any feet or anything on the floor for this woman to be standing on. So we could both tell, based on just that alone, that she wasn't a regular person. The other way I knew it wasn't a regular person is, so I was born legally blind. And I am extremely nearsighted. Everything is always blurry to me. And so, but I could see this woman's face clearly, even though she was all the way at the other end of the basement. And I could tell that she was sort of glaring at us and frowning and did not look happy that we were there. So, and again, that physically, with my eyes as they were, that was not possible. So the only thing I can think of is, at least in my case, I don't know about if she was doing the same with my cousin or not. I can't say, because I'm not him. But at least in my case, she was projecting or sending or showing me, showing herself to me through my mind somehow. Through my brain, mind, both, I'm not sure. And so I do think those things can happen, and it doesn't mean, now yes, the mind can make things up, obviously. But I don't think that in all these cases, that's always the answer. So I'm not sure what to make of that account there, but that's a lot to experience in over years, sounds like, in the case of this person that made this post here, seeing shadow figures moving around, seeing the shadows of trees. I wonder if they were really trees. But then also, the thing that sticks in my mind here is the cool wind or the cool air hitting them, as if they were outside, even though they were inside, and only when these shadow figures were around. So, anyway, I have no idea what to make of that experience there, except to just say that I can't say it didn't happen, because I wasn't there. Moving on to the next one here. Let's see. This one says, the time was somewhere between 3:30 and 3:40 a.m. I only know this because I looked at the time after this ordeal. For the past week, I've been thinking about my spirituality a lot. I've been meditating almost every night for 15 years now. I'm extremely aware of sleep paralysis and how to control it. I'd like to make it clear that this is not that situation at all. I regularly induce sleep paralysis during my meditation sessions. I went to bed late that night. I am easily overstimulated, naturally, and really don't like light due to my eyes. Yeah, I hear you there. My room was pitch black due to the heavy blackout curtains. Plus, it is the only way that I can sleep. I fell asleep on my chest with my head facing towards the wall. I woke up because a bright light entered my vision, despite having my eyes shut, and it was way too luminous for me to ignore. I opened my eyes, turned around, and right next to my snake's enclosure that caught me off guard, was a spirit or someone standing right there in the middle of my room. I was so astounded that I thought perhaps I was in sleep paralysis. I blinked very heavily a few times and sat up, and it was still there. I didn't feel fear or anxiousness. I did feel annoyance, though, as I am prone to anxiety and was not in the mood to be terrified when I really just wanted to sleep. They were maybe 5 feet 9 inches in height. Gender was unrecognizable, sex as well. They weren't even paying attention to me. Didn't even spare me a glance. They were fiddling with something in their hand. It was almost like a phone, but larger. I'd say a tablet is the best description. I also was confused by what they were wearing. I couldn't tell if it was a long-sleeve shirt with a hood or a cloak with a hood. I was unable to tell because the top half of their body was shining so brightly. I have never encountered a level of white as this in my entire life. It was so unbelievably bright. It was like their clothing or being was emitting pure white light. And that's where that one ends. So I'm guessing it vanished at some point. So that is fascinating. And again, this is not the first time. It's only the second time now I think about it, that I've heard of what people see, these different apparitions. The first time it was a shadow figure, but that's twice now I've come across accounts of anomalous figures appearing and it's seeming like appearing as though they're holding a device in their hand, like a modern, or at least the shape of a modern phone or tablet. The first one I found, I don't know, maybe a year ago, give or take, someone was in their kitchen and they could see almost like the light from a phone screen moving as if someone had picked up the phone to look at it and then was just holding it in their hand and loosely, and so it was aimed at the floor. So they were basically seeing like a shadow figure with a device in its hand. So now this one isn't a shadow figure, but they did mention here this person that saw this figure, this sort of the opposite, this blinding white figure holding what appeared to be a device of some kind. And I'm guessing even if the device was lit up, if this figure was emitting that much light, then they might not have seen it. So it's I don't know, it's fascinating. I wonder how often this is going to be happening now. And does this indicate that these are regular humans that when they appear for whatever reason, whether it's in some kind of weird time anomaly or space anomaly, or anything like that, is that because they're just regular people holding these devices and not even aware? Again, in this case, the writer said that this person, whoever they were, whatever they were, didn't even look at them. So that makes me wonder about that. Or are there other entities out there who have devices similar to, or objects similar to, what we think of as phones and tablets? Do they have devices similar to that, or I don't know, objects, sort of like who knows what the object could be? But it's really fascinating to think about that now. This new, possibly a new pattern showing up, where apparitions of whatever they are, and however they appear, also appearing to have devices with them. And of course, we've heard that with aliens over the years. And there's no way to know if this was an alien or not either. All this stuff is unless you sort of have a conversation with whoever it is, and even then, how do you know for sure that it's telling the truth without, I don't know, some kind of sense of that? It's just, there's so many things this could all be, but I've only come across this now twice where someone saw a figure holding something, some kind of what appeared to be technology in their hand. So let's move on to the next couple here. Let's get at least 2 more done here, I think, before we end the show for tonight. So let's see. This next one, funny, we're getting a lot of shadow figure accounts, at least in some cases tonight, these shows that I'm recording. This one says, yesterday morning, I woke up to an orb-like thing floating in my room near the doorway. It was a brownish black color with long, sharp spikes coming off of it. For context, I am somewhat psychic, so I often see orbs, lights, and the like. But I've never seen anything like this before. It vanished within a few seconds. Has anyone seen or experienced anything like this before? And that's where that one ends. It's a short one, but it's brings up something I have found in doing the show over the last few years. Sightings of these dark orbs, and not only dark orbs or shadow orbs, but these orbs with bumps or spikes or tendrils coming from them. For a long time, when I first started looking into all these things, I never heard about that. All I ever heard of were lights, and all I ever heard of were just perfect spheres of light. But in doing this and finding accounts of experiences, I've found so many where they do have, in some cases, bumps or spikes, or their shape is, and I've found accounts like that with the shadow orbs too. That's a new term, maybe. I think I like that. That might work, because it's hard to figure out what to call these things otherwise. But yeah, so this is not the first time I've heard of something like this. And I've shared similar accounts before on the show over the years here. So, yeah, it's fascinating. I don't know what that is or what that means, but it is apparently a thing that can happen, and has happened to people, multiple people over the years here. So, let's see here. Let's get to this next one. It's a longer one, so that's a perfect one to end with for this episode. This one says, I was around 8 or 9 years old when this happened. I was in Mexico, staying at my grandma's house with my cousins. It was nighttime, and I was in her courtyard with my cousins. The courtyard had a door to the backyard and a window next to the door as well. And while we were just hanging out outside, we saw a red light coming towards us. My cousins warned me not to get close to it because the window was open, but I thought it might have been my uncle with a flashlight because he was our neighbor. But it turned out it wasn't. I realized when it finally reached the door and stood face to face with me. It moved very much like a human, too. The thing is, it didn't have a face or anything, just darkness, red eyes, and a red light on its chest. But shortly after noticing it, we immediately ran to our grandparents, and they went to check, and there was nothing there anymore. So it couldn't have been an intruder or anything. It was definitely a demon or ghost. Have any of you seen anything at all, at least similar to this? And that's where that one ends. The light on the chest is fascinating. And that you hear more about that with either sort of creatures or, in some cases, again, aliens. Whatever aliens may be, as I always say, to me, alien just means unknown, unfamiliar. So now it is odd. I know that whenever people hear red and red light or red eyes, the automatic reaction is it must be evil, but I always wonder about that. This figure didn't attack anyone. The writer didn't say they felt terrified. They were frightened, which is understandable. And the cousins seem to know about this, which is the other fascinating thing. It makes me wonder how often they saw anything like that or saw something similar. And I wonder if they just ran because the writer ran. But either way, that is an odd sighting, and I wonder what that was. And again, just because there's a light on its chest, I don't know. I can't say for sure that means it was technology, because we don't know what it was. But yeah, so this shadowy figure, but with red eyes, red lights for eyes, and a red light on its chest is fascinating. And so I don't know what to make of all that. I don't know. I've never really heard of quote unquote ghosts, like human spirits appearing in that way. But so I don't know if it was really a soul of a person. Seems more other to me. But again, that's all I can say on that, because I'm only basing that on what I've heard and read, and I have not heard or read everything, obviously. But yeah, so that's going to definitely be the last of the stories I can read tonight. Please check out all the links in every episode description for these shows to find all the friends of the show that do all their own things, which is always amazing to listen to and hear. And please, if you are able and you feel like you enjoy the show, support, like I always say, is never expected, always appreciated. So thank you all, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.